Okay, so we'll get started now. Uh, so last class, we'll quickly run through what we discussed in the last class. We discussed about the common diseases, what all the diseases that are quite common, and we also discussed about what all the organs related to those diseases. Okay, so for example, like lung channel is connected to cough, asthma, so many things. See, the reason why I given this is here. The most important thing is, see, for example, if you ask anybody uh, saying that which organ is connected to asthma, everybody will tell. There is no big confusion about it. Uh, but there are many. See, there are the diseases actually affect. There are three different areas or three different organs as per the TCM. So one is the 12 organs which are connected, which we discussed, right? Which has one organ has one meridian. So that is the first one. The second one is there are connected organs. So this is what we discussed in the last class also. There are certain things which are connected to the organs. So what are connected? For example, lung and large intestine, they are connected to skin, body, hair. Similarly, heart, pericardium, so these things are connected to brain, blood vessels. And similarly, there are other organs, like sensory organs. So we have nose, tongue, mouth, eyes, ear. So these are also connected to different organs. So the most important part is the disease what somebody is facing could be in the 12 organs, or it could be in the sensory organs, or it could be a manifestation of the sensory organ. What I mean by manifestation in the sensory organ means like you have some internal problem that is coming out as a disease or symptom in the sensory organ, or it can also come in the connected organ. For example, somebody has what do you say? They have a huge hair fall. Okay, so which means that they have a problem with their kidney or urinary bladder. This is what the TCM says. So it's important to know these connections. So that's why I given you this connection. So why it is important, we'll discuss today. We discussed about the diseases, organs, and other things. Okay, but now let's go back to this cycle which we discussed in the very beginning. I think maybe in the fourth class or fifth class, I don't remember. So we discussed about how diseases are coming. So, so the first point is that there are five elements, and there are two organs, one yin organ, another yang organ, and they are they are interconnected, which means like lung and large intestine are connected, spleen, stomach connected. All of you know that, right? And these organs, they actually interact with each other. And when we say these organs interact with each other, it's not that these organs are directly talking to each other, but they are indirectly connected to each other through the five elements. For example, we can take triple armor, and triple armor is actually influencing stomach. Similarly, small intestine is influencing something. So basically, there is a connection. That's what is very important to understand. Now, this connection is called Shin Cycle. It is called constructive cycle, which means that, for example, see, the spleen and earth needs huge earth element. So how they get the earth element is from the fire element. So this is what discussed in the beginning also, that mother son law, right? So one is mother, other is son here. So example here, small intestine, triple armor, heart, pericardium, these are all mothers, and their childs are spleen and ST. Okay, so this is the generating cycle. Why it is called generation cycle is it is actually actively involved in generation. So generation of the five elements, right? So one element is boosting another element. Now let's say for some reason this is not working. So for example, suppose somebody's spleen is not working properly. Okay, then they may have a problem related to lung or large intestine. So not only that they will have a problem, they may have problem related to lung or large intestine. So similarly, if somebody has a problem with lung or large intestine, they will have problem related to urinary bladder or kidney. So why they have this problem? Because let's say somebody has a problem with spleen, which means that the spleen is not able to generate enough energy so that the lung or large intestine can get it. So that's why the spleen deficiency also impacts the other metal. So this is called Shin cycle or a generating cycle. So there is another cycle which is called co-cycle. So this is like you have accelerator and brake, right? In a car you have accelerator, but if let's say the car goes very fast, then the way to slow down is to brake, right? So the braking mechanism is nothing but the this mechanism, that is the mechanism which is called co-cycle. So what is co-cycle? Co-cycle is like fire actually controls metal. Okay, which means that if fire is excess or if fire is very good, then earth will be very good, but at the same time metal will be lesser. So which means that that earth is actually controlling the this thing. Okay, so what it means is that every element or every organ gets nourished by the mother organ and also gets controlled by uh, the grandmother organ. Okay, so for example, like spleen will be nourished by fire. At the same time, spleen will be controlled by wood. Now, see, this is like braking and this thing, right? Like I give example. Now, if you say, if let's say the braking mechanism doesn't work properly, right? Then what will happen? The car will go very fast and it will get destroyed. Right? Similarly, if the core cycle doesn't work properly, that will lead to acute problems and essentially it lead to death. But let's say if there is a problem related to Shin cycle, then it will lead to chronic problems. So we just need to remember this. Reason why I'm talking about this is, today we will talk about the most important aspect of this. Today is the last session, right? We'll talk about the most important aspect of how to select points. Okay, we'll come back to this later. We also discussed about what are the causes of diseases. So I'll just quickly recap from yesterday's last class. So there are 6 excess which are creating problems. So wind, cold, heat, dampness. So this is what is kind of correlation to our Indian medical systems like Ayurveda, Siddha, where we talk about Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Okay, so phlegm doesn't mean the phlegm in terms of allopathy. It means generally many liquids. So these phlegm, when they are not under control, also creates a problem. And then there are 7 emotions, right? We discussed this in the very beginning. Emotions cause problems. So so there are 7 emotions. When they become excessive, they create a problem. For example, too much of sadness creates a lung problem. So this is one reason why if you see people who are aged at 60, 65 or maybe 70, they get lung problem because they are too much into depression. Maybe they are very lone, they don't get the care. They get into sadness. So what happens? Their lung gets damaged. So there are young people who get heart attack because of excessive joy. So today many of us have diabetes problem because anxiety in our work. So these are all the cause of the diseases. Now today we'll start with this continuation of this thing. So see, why do we need to understand cause of disease? This is very important. Uh, so there is a saying in Tirukural in Tamil, which says that the best way to solve any problem or any disease, is to diagnose and address the disease, not the symptoms. So this is very important. So this is also another reason why I told you in the beginning that while the allopathy is very developed, it is very advanced, very good. It does a very good job in acute problems. It does a job in diagnosis of diseases. It does everything very good. It doesn't really work very well in terms of chronic issues. So the reason is because the problems can happen because of multiple reasons, and the arena or the scope of allopathy is just restricted to a smaller area. It doesn't go beyond that, right? For example, if an English doctor tells you that how to take care of your food or something, it is not his arena, right? Obviously, he will talk about something, but he will give more emphasis for medicine or diagnosis rather than food. That is what he's supposed to do. But the problem is like the problems are happening because of food or some other issues, right? Now, how can that be solved by medicine? It can only get under control, but cannot solve. So that is why it's important for us to know the causes of diseases. So I have given some reasons here just for your understanding. So one is wrong habits. When we say wrong habits, it means wrong lifestyle and food. Food is a very important reason. Next is strong and persisting emotion. Say, for example, if let's say you are very very healthy, as in my own example, I was very healthy, I was very active, but suddenly at one point in my life, I suddenly started getting diabetes. So I was very surprised that if I tell people that I had diabetes, then people were not believing me, because that's the thing. So the reason is because it is not caused by some lifestyle or something. It's caused by some other external factors. So unless you understand the external factors, you cannot solve the problem. So emotions also come into play, right? Now, if you are always under anxiety, if you are always under stress, you develop some disease. That cannot be cured by medicine. Obviously, that can be kept under control, but it cannot be cured. So that's why you need to know the cause of the disease. Similarly, excess of wind, all these things. For example, if heat increases, it creates a lot of problem. So this is what in Siddha and Ayurveda they talk about heat. For example, if you have ulcer or some other problem in your stomach, it shows up in your mouth and lips. So these are all the some symptoms. The most important thing is what Chinese medicine says. What we need to be worried about is depletion of five vital substances. So these five vital substances are the most important reason why people get disease. So if you can manage all these things, you can live 100 years without getting into any health issues. The first is energy. Okay, so how do you improve energy? You improve energy through meditation. That's why I keep insisting all of you to do meditation. The more you do meditation, you will get and not the normal meditation. I'm talking about the chakra meditation, what I'm teaching on a daily basis. Next is blood. So if blood is not of good quality, it creates a lot of problems. So for example, Ayurveda has a lot of focus on detoxification, right? So there are many yogas you can do to detoxify yourself. So blood is one important thing. So how to keep your blood very, this thing is drinking a lot of water, right? Because when you drink a lot of water, kidney works very efficiently. There are many ways you can explore later. Then body fluids. There are so many body fluids. If these body fluids are not proper, then it creates a problem. Then Jing or essence and Shen spirit. So we'll not talk about this because it's kind of very out of scope for this conversation. These are all some important reasons why somebody gets a disease. The most important thing we need to understand is imbalance of yin and yang. So we will see today some diseases which are related to yin and yang. So this is also one important reason. So when yin is high, some disease happens. When yang is high, some disease happens. Next is, and obviously when yin is high, it means yang is low. When yang is high, it means yin is low, right? And disruption of Shin and cycle. So that's what just discussed, right? So these are all the important reasons why disease happens. So I just given you a slide. I'll post it, but I will not going to go through in the interest of time because today I want to focus more on selection of point, not on theory. You can study about it later. So today, let's understand diseases from a Chinese medicine perspective. I have been telling this multiple times that English medicine classifies all the diseases as chronic or this thing, whereas the Chinese medicine they go even more beyond chronic or acute. They go beyond that and they talk about different this thing. For example, constipation is a disease, whereas diarrhea is a disease. They are not same. They are exactly opposite of each other. It's quite understandable, right? So which can be quite understandable. But if you see vomiting and nausea, both are same for allopathy, because vomiting and nausea are same. The English doctor may not really care about whether you have nausea or vomiting, so he'll give you the same medicine which will stop this thing. But in Chinese medicine, nausea is different, vomiting is different, because vomiting means you are actually doing vomiting, whereas in nausea means you just have the feeling, you're not really got that. These two are different, they are not same. So one is happening because of deficiency, another is happening because of excess. So for example, deficiency means you don't have enough energy, right, which is called yin energy or cold energy, or so it is called Zhu disease. Shi disease means it is exactly opposite. So what is Zhu disease? Like nausea, constipation, fatigue, lowered immunity, poor digestion, dry cough, evening temperature, facial paralysis. I just give an example. There are 100 things are there. You can find it from internet also. So these diseases are called yin problems. So why do we need to do this? Because if you know that, for example, if you have a problem, if you know the energy is deficient, then you need to actually tonify the point. We'll talk about that in the next this thing. So you have to tonify the point. But at the same time, if you have a disease because of excess, like high fever, if you go and tonify the point, you'll have more high fever because no, there the energy is already high, so you have to reduce the energy. So this is why you need to understand about the Zhu and Shi disease. Okay, so you can actually do a Google search and find out more problems. Now, how do you know whether it's a Z or this thing Shi or Zhu or Shi or Yin or Yang? So there are many methods Chinese do, but we cannot teach everything here because of the scope of this course. But still, we can understand from the nature of problems. Like I gave this example here, you can understand whether it's deficient of energy or excess of energy. When I say energy, they're talking about prana or chi or ki. Okay. Now, the tongue also tells a lot about our health issues. For example, like a normal person tongue, he should be able to pull out properly, and when he pulls out, it should be proper size, and it should have light red with light white coating. And if somebody is cleaning their tongue on daily basis, obviously the white coating won't be there; it will be just light red color, so which means the person is having no problem. But when the tongue is excessive red, it means the person has a disorder related to either heart or pericardium or small intestine. Similarly, if a person tongue is completely white, then it means like the person has lung disorder or large intestine. So this is how you can understand whether a person has a problem. See, we are going to give a lot of emphasis today because today we are going to select the points based on the disorders. So you have a disease or a disorder. Now we need to understand what organs are connected to that so that we can select the point. Also, we need to know whether it's yin or yang so that we can connect the point. This is the whole idea of the today's class. Okay, now if a person has yin disease, then his tongue will be light color, very, very light color. But if the person has a yang disease, then the person will have very, very red color or dark pink color. And you can also see, the person at the edge, they will have some tooth mark, which means like, it will be protruding like this. Okay, it will not be uniform. It will be, protruding like this. So which means that person has a yin disease. If there is no tooth mark, either he has a yang disease or he doesn't have any problem. Okay, now let's spend another few minutes to understand about what other things we can do in addition to acupressure. So, as I told you, in the Chinese medicine, there are many levels of things are there. So it starts with massage, and then next goes to acupressure, and then blah blah all this thing. Then they have this Chinese herbal therapy. So they have a lot of things. So the top one is acupuncture. Then after that they have surgery for very rare cases. So, so we are practicing only acupressure. So how can we do something? See, acupressure is not very ineffective. So don't understand that acupressure is ineffective. Like I just posted today, I just came to know from our members that that they had shared the message with somebody and they were able to reduce the effort. So it's the power of acupressure. But still, it's important for us to know what all the other therapies are there so that you can complement, especially if you have enough time. See, all the life, what we have done is only running behind money and following our health, right? So now at least we should try to invest on our health and try to live very healthy, right? So that we don't because see generally what happens at each stage in our life, there are some priorities in life, right? At 20, you just need something, then you need some recognition, promotion, and then you need money, all these things, right? But never health is a priority anywhere in that order, and health becomes a priority only after retirement or 60. But that's the time when you have all the diseases that are developed, right? And then you don't know how to manage. And even if you have a retirement life, you have all the wealth created, you have all the pension plans, everything, your life becomes miserable, because you don't know how to manage your health, right? So that's the problem. So that's why that's the whole objective of this session also. So from that perspective, it is better that we know more therapies than acupressure. So one is hand therapy. So I will tell you this is a very, very simple therapy. We will talk about more in detail in our energy class. Suppose you have headache, just keep here, just focus here, right? For 20 minutes, your headache will be gone. So any inflammation, any problem, any headache, all these things, and you won't believe me that you can even use this to strengthen your organs, except heart and eye. Okay, don't put your hands on heart and eye. Except for heart and eye, you can put everywhere. For example, you have a kidney problem. Just 20 minutes, keep your hands on both the kidneys. Just just keep thinking that you are sending energy to the kidney. Kidney will become better. Definitely, it will improve. So the very simple therapy is hand therapy. Next is auricular therapy. You can do a lot of research about it. Okay, there are auricular beads available in Amazon. You can just put it. We are not able to spend time on this, but this is one important thing. Next is called moxibustion. So just see my camera. So this is a mocha stick. Okay, so this is a mocha stick. What you can do is you can burn the stick. It's like a cigarette, but not very small. It is very big. It has something called a mocha plant. I forgot what's the this thing Indian name of that. So this stick is available in Amazon. So you can buy the stick, and you can actually heat the acupuncture point. Okay, but don't do it without discussing with me. Uh, so it's very useful. Okay, so what you can do is, if you have a problem, you can buy the stick. So for example, you have a very high fever or something very acute problems, you can use this rather than simply relying only on acupressure. So there are two ways to do it. One is to use direct method, that is you heat it and then show it here, but that's very dangerous because it will burn your point, but very effective. The other point is indirect, which means you don't touch it, but let the heat go through from the point by keeping it away. So these are the two ways, but don't try without talking to me. Okay, so that's called moxibustion. Then there is an electronic pen. I just given her this thing. So don't buy from Amazon, which is like 600 700 rupees. If you want to really buy, you have to. I have not seen such things in India. It's available in Amazon, US, and other things. So it's called electronic acupuncture pen. It will pass laser energy, and then it will do the job of acupuncture. So if you know all the points, whatever you want to do, you can buy it. I think the cost would be somewhere around 75,000 to 80,000. So it's a huge investment. Next is reflexology. I think I talked about reflexology earlier also. It's very easy. You can do it. And so basically, what you can do is there are some tools for reflexology. You can either buy it from Amazon, or you take a blunt side of the pen, and you can do this. If you want to understand more about the reflexology and auricular therapy, there are plenty of materials available in internet. So basically, what is auricular therapy or reflexology says is that that our nerves connect, just like how I told how the nerves are connecting to umbilicus. The nerves are connecting to our what do you call our palms and our ears and our limbs actually. So which means that if you massage those points, or if you do something in those points, the corresponding organs will get strengthened. Same. And there are different types of this thing. For example, France has different type of acupuncture called auricular therapy. Then there are sujok in Korea. So there are different types are there. Okay, so we'll not get into that. Next is cupping therapy. Cupping therapy means that cupping therapy means they will apply pressure in that point by using some cups, and you can do that. Again, this also don't try without talking to a proper practitioner. So what you can try is hand therapy. You can try, except for heart and eye. Auricular therapy, you can do very simple. You have to learn about it and then buy the beads, and you can try it at home. Moxibustion, don't do without getting some expert this thing, or talk to me. Electronic acupuncture pen, you can buy it, but it's a very high costly this thing. Reflexology, all of you can try. Cupping therapy, don't try on your own. Take somebody's support, because I don't know much about cupping therapy. Now let's come to the most important aspect of acupuncture points, right? How do we? So we have a problem, right? So we can do two things. One is that, see, in the field of health, there are two important things. One is prevention, another is cure, right? So prevention is there in the most of the medicine systems, like acupuncture, even things like Siddha, Ayurveda, homeopathy. Allopathy doesn't have much of prevention, because it's by default, its nature itself is only cure, not prevention. But there are many mechanisms of that. So you have a problem, or no. So basically, acupuncture, what all the techniques, like rotating this thing, then massaging all the points, all these things will help you to keep you off from any diseases. But let's say you have a problem. So what do you do? So you can use, you can select certain acupuncture points, and you can actually massage, and then you can get a benefit. Like the example I told, somebody was able to reduce the blood sugar levels, right? Maybe that person didn't know what she was doing, but she was spending so much of time, it reduced her blood sugar levels. but all of us may not have time, so it's important to select some points. So, and I'm telling you, you will not find this in anywhere in the internet or anywhere. So please pay attention. Now we can do it in two ways. One is clinical method, another is classical method. So this is what we discussed in the beginning. What is clinical method? Clinical method means that there are prescribed points. People have found, they have done research. See, unfortunately, whatever great we are talking about Siddha and Ayurveda, they have not really reached who, or they have not reached the stage where international people are doing research on our medicinal system. That is one of the shame that I feel personally our people should be worried about. But if you see acupuncture, I also told you the story how acupuncture was became famous in the West. So since West adopted acupuncture, it is one of the authorized medicinal system in WHO, and many researchers are doing research. Not only the Chinese doctors, but also internationally, even the allopathy and many doctors they are looking at acupressure or acupuncture, and they have prescribed certain points, saying these points can treat certain diseases. That is called clinical method. I already given a sheet to you, which many things. So now, so why do we need another method? So this classical method is not for our use. This is primarily for the Chinese practitioners. So in those days, like I told you, they didn't have any diagnostic mechanisms like lab test or anything. So what they did is they used several diagnosis techniques. Okay. But what I have tried to do is I try to give you a very small portion of that, and that's why I'm telling this is not available in internet. That is because all these things, these are all first of all very specialized knowledge. You will not know unless you do a degree or some diploma in acupuncture or Chinese medicine. The second is it's actually created for acupuncture, not for acupressure. So what I thought was that okay, if you are going to blindly do something or read some book and do it, it's not going to solve your problem. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give a small extract of that knowledge to you, so that you can decide, use the classical method, and you can also try to selectively, go with some points, and you can get better benefit. So that's the idea behind why we have to learn about classical method. So what are the steps? I given a very simplified thing. It's not very easy, but I given a very simplified step. First is we need to have an understanding of our impacted organ. So which organ is impacted? So now here, for example, if you have asthma or wheezing, I told you asthma and wheezing are not safe, right? Wheezing is yin disease, whereas asthma is a yang disease. So these two are different, but but both are related to lung. So first of all, you should have an understanding about what organs are connected to what disease. Sorry, what diseases are connected to what organs. So I have already given you a list of problems. You can also go and do internet search and find out. But I have given you very exhaustive thing here. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, then second is once you know what are the problems. Okay, then okay, now the problem may not be related to this thing. So for example, there are many problems. See, for example, today I'm treating one person for a disease called Meniere's disease. I never heard about this disease in my life actually. So I'm actually going to that person's house and I'm putting needle there. When I came to know about this disease, I realized that there is no treatment or there is no way to solve this problem in allopathy. And this is not the only disease. There are many diseases. Trigeminal neuralgia, there is no cure for it. Diabetes, there is no cure for it. If you take other examples like what else? Thyroid, there is no cure for it. But other medicinal systems have cure. So basically, the problem is like when you have certain things like autoimmune disease. So autoimmune disease is not something understood by allopathy. It's not even understood by many medicinal systems, including acupuncture or acupressure or Siddha or Ayurveda. But it is very easily identified by energy mechanisms. So the problem is when you have certain diseases, you don't know what organs to select, right? Because they may not be related to 12 organs, right? I think in the very beginning, somebody asked me this question, what about other organs? See, these are all the major 12 organs. But why acupuncture or acupressure or Chinese medicine talking only about 12 organs is because other organs are relying on these organs. Okay, so that's why they didn't worry about other organs. So now, for example, I have a problem related to my hearing problem, right? So what will I do? Because there is no point which is related to this thing. Now, this is where the knowledge comes here, where I give this table. where you can understand. You see here, ear is connected to kidney and urinary bladder, right? So if you have a urinary problem, sorry, if you have a ear problem, right, then it's probably the reason is because of your kidney issue or urinary bladder issue. So this example that I talked about, meniscus, right? This person is having a severe hearing loss. Now English medicine says there is no cure for it, but no, you look at Chinese medicine, right? It clearly says kidney is connected to ear, right? And so this person, I check this certain test, so that maybe I suspect that the person has a kidney problem. So I ask the person to consult with a better allopathy doctor and analyze and do some test and find out how healthy the person's kidney is. Maybe the kidney is causing the problem, right? Whereas English medicine says there is no cure. So this is where we need to know which organs are connected. So the problem may not be related to that particular 12 organ. It could be related to your tongue. Sorry, it could be related to your sensory organs. It could be also related to the connected organs. So I also discussed what is connected organs, right? Like tissues, tendons. See, for example, no, you have a problem related to your tendons, right? You are not able to hold things, no, or you have carpal tunnel syndrome. So these are not related to any organ, sole organ, but they are connected to one of the organs. So first, you need to have an understanding about what are the organs. Now, how do you know what are the organs? There are symptoms. Like sometimes it's quite obvious. Sometimes it's not obvious. So you have to understand the symptoms. And like looking at tongue also, I told you it is possible to do, right? And nature of the disease itself will tell whether the which organ is connected. And the most important thing is alarm points. I explained this in the thing. In the slide also, I given all the alarm points documented. So when you go to those alarm points and press, you may have. But again, I just want to tell two important things. Please don't get into some idea that all these things will avoid any medications or any this thing, because these are all complement. I told you right earlier, complementary and supplementary, right? So these are not complementary; these are supplementary. So don't stop your this thing if you are having a this thing with your doctor. It could be an English doctor or whatever doctor he is. Continue with them. Don't stop it. That is number one. Second thing is, if I tell you there is an alarm point, you go and find there is a pain, then the kidney could be weak. Then don't think tomorrow that you will get into a dialysis. It doesn't mean like that, right? It just says that your organ is, So the reason why I'm telling is that today, internet is available. I have been telling this quite multiple times, but this is the reality. That if you have a problem, you want to go to internet and search what the problem is related to, symptom, then you feel like you might have a simple gastric problem, you might have had a chest pain, then you will think like you have a cardiac arrest. That's the problem of half knowledge. Okay, so don't overdo this. So you can identify the organ, right? Once you identify the organ, also identify if there's a localized problem. For example, headache is localized, right? I told you different types of headaches. And then you have to understand whether it's a zoo or she disease. Like I gave this example. See, if you cannot understand also, don't worry about it. Okay, if you can understand, you can do a better treatment. But if you cannot understand also, I'm telling you certain ways to solve the problem. So once you are clear with all the problems, then you select the points. Okay. Now, how do I select the points? There are many mechanisms. I have given you. You don't need to be expert. First is all the points that pains. So I told you this in the very beginning. Alarm points and Ashi points. Right, there are two different points. So I don't want to get into the difference between these two. I covered in the earlier lectures. So alarm points and Ashi points are there. So you can figure out now which are the alarm points, which are the Ashi points. And if you get a pain or something, you can actually treat those things. Horary points. Say for example, I discussed what is horary point, what is organ cycle. So if you have a problem related to this thing, then you can actually massage those horary points. And massaging should be done anti-clockwise and clockwise, both, not one side. Okay, one side you are going to do only if you understand whether it's a zoo problem or a she problem, which means that whether there's a excess energy or a deficiency in energy. Okay, sorry, the other way. Okay, then the next is jingle points. So if you have acute emergencies, like I told you, there is a point here. If somebody is fainting, then you can bring them up. All these things. So these are all like first aids, right? They are not going to solve the problem. Say for example, if somebody fainted, no, you can just massage here, they will come back. That doesn't mean you just let the person go. You have to ask the person to take a proper medical care. Okay, then you have other points like influential points. So influential points are connected to organs. I given those points here. I think I also discussed in the class. I think people would have taken a note of it, but still I have documented for the benefit of everybody. So these are the influential points. So if you have problem with muscles, tendons, or tissues, all these things, bone marrows. See, for example, there are many autoimmune diseases are there. So these autoimmune diseases are related to bone marrows. I think most of you know, right? And there are other issues. So you can go and find out those things, and you can. So you have to basically do some research about the disease. That is more important. The next is Yuan source point of the channel. I also discussed what is Yuan source point. So you can find a related organ. See, when you say organ, it doesn't mean, say for example, you have asthma. It doesn't mean you have to select only lung channel or points on the lung channel. You can also select large intestine because they are connected, right? That's why you see lung, large intestine, spleen, stomach, like that, right? Okay, then Z clef point for acute disease. If somebody has acute disease, you can use Z clef point. So all these points are already given. So without any knowledge, also you can try all these things. Okay. Now let's say, what do we do? So basically, you have to take the corresponding channel of the organ, right? And you can massage all the points, all the important points. Where are the important points? I already told you. Important points are there in your in your jingle, or at the end, right, on the joints, right, or the starting, right. I told you this. So there are the important points. So for example, urinary bladder 67 points. Suppose if you feel like there is a urinary problem, you can't massaging 67 points, like you'll be doing the whole day that only. Right. So what you can do, you select only selected points, like select horary point, jingle points, these kind of points. Plus you select other points like let's say points that are coming on the edge, sorry, on the what do you call, on the joints, all these things, right? Or on the this thing, something like that. You can select those and you can do massaging, right? So that's how you can do. So simple, without any knowledge. If you know which organ is affected, say for example, somebody has some problem related to deafness. Now you cannot select a point. So now deafness is connected to kidney and urinary bladder. So what you do, take kidney channel and then find out all the important points, like I told you, list down. You have the app with you, go and store in the app. So if you go to the app in the center, you have a button, you click there, you can define a list. Say for example, you can say kidney problem. You can create a list there called kidney problem. Then what you do, you go to each and every point, and then there at the bottom there is a plus sign in the app. You go and click that thing, and then you can add that point to the kidney list that you created. So which means, like you have a list. Suppose there are 5 people at your home, all of them have different diseases. You create one list for each disease, note down that, and then every day morning open that, find out all the points, massage it. After 10 times, you don't need the app because you have become an expert. Okay, so this is how you can do it. Very, very simple mechanism. The second is points around impacted areas. So for example, you have arthritis. Without knowing anything, you can just do massage on all the points around the arthritis, wherever you have a problem. You have headache, you can do here, like I told you. Like you have eye problem, surrounding points. And there is no harm in doing, suppose you have selected 10 points, out of which 8 points are really not related to this thing. There is no harm in selecting those 2.2 additional points, right? You can still do it. It doesn't matter. Then you can also select points based on effects. So this is very important to understand, especially this comes very handy during problems like, say your kids or somebody has a high fever, what to do. So for example, whenever my son has fever, I don't really worry too much. What I do, I just put 2 needles in LI4 and LI11, and then he becomes normal. Next day morning, I take him to hospital just to make sure that what is the reason for the problem, because I cannot diagnose. So the doctor will diagnose. If he says it's a viral issue, I just fine, I just leave it as it is. But if he says something else, then I go and take a blood test. So I don't really care about fever anymore. In fact, when we all went outside, to Bhubaneswar and then came back to Bangalore, my son had very high fever. Everybody had high fever at our home. And I treated with LI4 and LI11. That's it. Nothing else I did. And LI4 and LI11 are really so powerful. Okay, so now what are the different effects? So one is analgesic effect. What is analgesic effect? It means pain relieving effect. See, for example, you have headache. The common thing I've seen people is taking anacin, metacin. I don't know what all sins are there. It's really a sin to take those medicines. So what you do, you massage LI4, ST43, and ST44. Why I'm saying it is a sin to take medicines is because you have to understand one thing, that medicines are artificially made. Anything which is artificially made by human beings, see, we have a common intelligence. Okay, see, there are two types of intelligence. One is the intelligence with available with the human beings, which is called our I don't know what you call in English. No? It is our human intelligence, right? With that, we are creating artificial intelligence, many things. But there is also another intelligence, which is available in all the living beings except human beings. And it is also see, we are not one living being. That we have to be clear. No, we are not one living being. Within our body, there are so many organs which are living, and within that there are so many cells which are living. All these things have some intelligence. So, what is that intelligence? For example, let's say there is a dog. Okay, it can find out whether a thief is coming or some other person is coming, right? If it's really a proper trained dog, I'm saying. Similarly, in Andaman, when earthquake happened, I think in tsunami happened in 2004 or something. No, all the tribal peoples and all these people, they went out because no, see, God has given some human intelligence. Now, this human intelligence, what it is doing is, it is saying our body that accept only what is nature made. Don't accept anything which is human made. So, if you take a medicine, okay, yeah, you have to take a medicine. There is a problem. You have to take a medicine. There is no other way. But if you keep on taking it, what will happen? Your body will get damaged because no, it will go and get stored in liver. So I talked about it earlier. So if you have any problem, if it is unbearable, you take a medicine. But if it is bearable, try with this thing, right? The doctor has prescribed you a medicine. You should not say no to the medicine. But you also need to understand what I should take, what I should not take. For example, you should not say I will not take antibiotic. Yes, that will create a further problem. But you can decide whether I want to really take a painkiller or not, right? So that is analgesic. So LI4, ST4, ST43, ST44 are analgesic point. Sedation point. If somebody is very restless, something happened, you can calm down, right? So that is DU20H7, UB62. Hemostasis. Hemostasis I already discussed in the last class. I also gave you the explanation of what is hemostasis. So problems like imbalances in our body. So those are all hemostasis. So what is that? Like high blood pressure, low blood pressure, like high blood sugars. These are all like an acute problem. Suddenly your blood pressure has gone up. Suddenly your this has come down. So I'm not saying that time you go and keep doing massaging. You obviously go to a doctor, right? But in between, if you get some time, you can do something and can claim yourself, right? Suppose you are in a hospital, you are waiting for the this thing. You got taken an appointment. Why to sit idle? You do massaging, so that you can bring down, right? So don't take this as primary thing, but you can also rely on this in addition to the English medicine, right? And next is immunity. There are so many immunity related problems. These are all the points. So this is how you will select the point. I give you the important organs here. For example, for each organ, in the front there are some alarm points. In the back there are some alarm points. And similarly, there are many other things like respiratory, bone cartilage, blood, Fu organs, Zhang organs. There are several points. You can use this to decide. Now, what you can do is, I would strongly suggest all of you. I will also send a template or something later. What you can do is you document all the points, right? Whatever the points I told you, you document it. You share it here so that other people also can share, get it benefit. I will also review and see whether you have the correct points. But you document the points. So how to document? Document all the points by different types like jingle, alarm points, all these things. Then document the points by disease. I already given you this thing. And then document the points by locations, right? In the face, what all the points are. In the hands, what all the points are there. And in my, this thing, joints, what all the points are there, like I told you, right? So, for example, I have a problem in my face or I have a headache. So, what point to select? I can select from those points. Once you have documented all these things, it will be very handy, and you can also put into your app actually. Now, the most important thing is, let's spend 2 minutes and then we'll stop here. How to live, disease-free life. This is very important, right? The most important thing is that unfortunately this is not being taught anywhere. So I thought we'll spend 5 minutes on this. First is you need to have a proper food, right? I would say very simple. Avoid outside foods. Okay, outside foods means like people think only eating outside in the hotel, but more than hotel food, the most damaging part is all the packaged food they're eating, starting from bread, biscuits, everything. They are all killing your liver and kidneys. Next is drink enough water. Nobody understands this, especially people at age. You have to drink enough water. The one reason is because we discussed, right? The quality of blood is decided by the amount of water you drink, right? and most of the kidney problem happens because you don't drink enough water. And then protect body from extreme temperature and pollution. This is very, very important. So this is something that you have to really pay attention to this. So then maintaining body heat. I have discussed it several times. So we have to maintain our body heat. If you don't have body heat, then you get many diseases. Then brisk walking for 40 minutes per day. Every day, walk for 40 minutes if possible, right? And it should be a brisk walking. And joint rotation exercise you can do. And acupressure, 30 minutes in a day you do. If you have enough time, please invest on it, right? You don't need retirement policies. You don't need this thing at your age. You don't need, sorry, not retirement. I mean health policies, all these things, because this is the investment you are doing. Okay, so what next? So you have now learned about So we have discussed this class. What all we learned so far? We learned about several things like what is acupressure, what are the different types of medicines, what is the difference between chronic disease and what is acute disease, what is disease disorder. We discussed so many things, and then we discussed some Chinese philosophies. We discussed what apps are there. We discussed what is acupuncture point. We discussed how to do all these things, sedation, this thing, right? We discussed so many things, and we also have some apps that will help us to do, right? So you have a lot of kit. So what is important? So now we have to remember all the points. So use the app, practice daily. That is more important, right? You have a problem, please practice. I reiterate this again and again. Second is learn more. All of us can learn more. It will give us more knowledge. Another thing, spread this knowledge. This is very important, right? See, I'm sure all of you, whoever you feel like you got benefited from this, see, the benefit could be in terms of knowledge, not only knowledge, also in terms of solving the problem, like the example we talked about. Please spread the knowledge. I don't intend to take next class, but there are videos are available, so people can see those videos. And at some point of time, I will redo this class, so that time we can have more people joining. Okay, so the next one is maybe this month we will try to spend more time to recap whatever we did. We'll have some quiz or something. After that, we'll start energy classes from April. So there we will learn more, and we will learn more and more. Okay, so I think we'll stop here, and thank for all of you for being part of this session from day one. And I really thank you for your this thing. And please practice. That's the only thing I'm telling you, because any knowledge which is not put in practice is of no use, right? So yeah, thank you.